In this lecture, you will learn some terminology, words, about cutting hair, the three main cutting techniques, and how they apply to different shapes and hair classifications. The word elevation means the amount or degree the hair is lifted when being cut from its natural fall. For example, 90 degrees. The cutting angle is where the hair is held and cut. For example, the hair can be elevated to 90 degrees and cut vertically. A guideline is the initial section for each stage of the haircut. It is combed and elevated into its angle and cut. This guide is followed through the progress of the haircut. Sectioning is how you choose to organise and divide areas of the hair in preparation for cutting. A section line is a subsection of the area to be cut. Over direction can be any angle apart from 90 degrees to the head. In graduation, over direction is used to build up length. In layering, over direction is used to maintain length. It is where the hair is directed away from the established process angles. It is used to create increasing lengths through the interior or perimeter of a shape. For example, the hair may be elevated to 90 degrees but over-directed back to maintain length through the front perimeter. Cross-checking helps to check your balance and accuracy. You generally take a section in the opposite direction. For example, if you've cut in vertical sections, you would check horizontally. With diagonal graduation, you check the opposite way diagonally. With horizontal sections, you check vertically, 90 degrees, perpendicular to the original cutting line, and check all the hair is following the same line and refine where necessary. Growth patterns refer to the direction the hair grows from the hair follicle. Tension is the amount of pull applied to the hair when cutting. Disconnection is a technique for cutting hair when different lengths are created without being blended together. Cutting techniques are divided into three main categories, which once mastered can be combined in many ways for a variety of haircuts. Most haircuts are made up of 2 or 3 of the main techniques. The three categories are: one length, sometimes called solid form; graduation; and layering. Added to which the very important technique of disconnection, which works in combination with other techniques. There are 2 forms. Visible disconnection. This is where the overhang is visibly longer than an outline or internal shape. This aids suitability, softens, adds movement, and sometimes accommodates growth patterns. Invisible disconnection is where a longer area will sit over a shorter area, but will not exceed the outline. This can help blend areas where the hair has been reduced by layering. One length or solid form.
A one length or solid form is the build-up of weight on an outline perimeter. In a solid form, all lengths are brought down to a stationary guide or design line. The length of the perimeter can vary. The length of the hair is shorter on the exterior outline and longer on the interior.
In a one length or solid form haircut, when the hair falls in a natural state, it follows the curve of the head to the stationary guideline. The structure of a one length solid form haircut shows that all the lengths reach the same level, creating a strong weight or perimeter line.
The most common lines are horizontal, square, diagonally forwards or backwards, triangular, and curved, either convex or concave, round. The longest interior lengths fall to the same level and line as the shortest lengths from the exterior outline shape. The section lines used in a one length or solid form are generally parallel to the design line, the outside perimeter. The perimeter will depend on face shape, facial features, density, texture, and whether there is a fringe. The hair is generally sectioned into 4 primary areas. With any one length, establish the parting and the natural fall of the hair. Because of head shape, growth patterns and texture, no 2 sides are the same. Section from the top of the ear on both sides. Establish your perimeter guide. Take subsequent parallel sections to your guide. This guide could be square, round, or triangular. When cutting a solid form or one length, use minimum tension. Any tension will result in graduation. Hold the hair at 0 degrees, no elevation. Carefully position your client's head. Ensure good posture with level shoulders.
Generally, the hair is cut with an upright position, which allows the hair to fall in its natural position.
Make sure that the hair is combed thoroughly from roots to ends. Use the wide end of the comb to ensure natural movement. Position your comb parallel to the design line. Take fine sections. Cut at eye level. Keep the hair evenly saturated for an accurate result. Be mindful of front cowlick, nape cowlick, double crown, widow's peak. Be mindful that the ear causes a protrusion. You need to account for the protrusion and consider how the hair will fall when dry. Perhaps reduce the amount of tension. When cutting a solid form, there are 3 methods. 1. You can hold the hair between your fingers. 2. You can rest the comb against the hair and cut. 3. You can comb the hair onto the skin and cut. Keep your fingers, comb and scissors at the same angle as the section line. Check and refine the line after it's been blow dried. If cutting a fringe, assess features and bone structure. Check for irregularities and make needed adjustment to accommodate. Cut the fringe dry to assess the natural fall of the hair. With fine hair, take a large initial section to build the guide. With multi-textured hair, adapt the tension as you work and take off excess graduation if necessary. As curly hair sits shorter when dry, it is a good idea to cut your initial section with caution and assess the elasticity. This can then be refined. With Asian hair, ensure enough weight on the outline perimeter to accommodate the strong hairline. Graduation is a build-up of weight. It is a gradual progression of lengths from shorter to longer. Graduation generally is housed in the lower part of the head, from the parietal ridge down. Graduation is often used in combination with layering or solid form one length. There are two features of graduation: the dual texture and the weight line. The stacking creates a dual texture, the graduated area and the smooth outer surface. The weight line or the weight area separates the graduation from the rest of the shape. Graduation creates internal and external shapes. The placement of the graduation will affect the outcome shape.
You can place the graduation low, medium or high.
Projection or elevation is the angle that you hold the hair when cutting. An angle between 0 and 90 degrees will produce graduation. Anything over 90 degrees will achieve layering. By combing the hair to an angle between 1 and 89 degrees to the base and cutting a parallel line, you will achieve graduation. Low graduation is achieved between the angles of 1 and 44 degrees. Medium graduation is at 45 degrees. The high graduation is achieved between 46 and 89 degrees. The longer hair will be generated at the top of the head, the shorter the base of the head. The lengths will be affected by the degree of angle and placement of graduation. Round graduation is cut from the front to the back. The hair is taken tight around the ear and gets heavier towards the back. Triangular graduation leaves weight at the front and works from the back of the head to the front. Square graduation. This is a flatter shape, working from the back to the front and leaving weight behind the ear. Triangular graduation will need to be over-directed to increase the length in the front. Round graduation is over-directed forwards to produce weight in the back. Square graduation is when you over-direct to an imaginary square line. When cutting, the initial technique be consistent with your choice of cutting either under or over the fingers on both sides of the head. Do not change. On steep graduation, it's easier to work underneath the fingers. With flatter graduation, work either under or over depending on your comfort and flexibility. It is easier to pull the sections towards your body rather than pushing away. You have more control and can achieve a more consistent result. Body position determines the amount of over-direction placed. Tension on the hair creates graduation. The more tension, the more graduation. You need to achieve even tension within the fingers. Place one finger slightly behind the other using the knuckles to lock.
When graduating very fine hair, it is best to establish a one-length line to establish a weight line, then graduate from the one length. The graduation will achieve volume. Asian hair is very thick and outlines can be difficult. With Asian hair, the density tends to get thicker through the interior. Therefore, you may have to round the graduation once you've completed the guide to soften the shape. On very curly hair, use steep graduation to flatten the shape, and be mindful that this type of hair can sometimes have multi-textures and hairlines are weak and sit further out. If cutting wet to dry, be mindful of elasticity and allow for a little extra length when establishing the initial guide. Hair shrinks when it's dry.
Layering essentially reduces weight in the haircut by cutting layers into the hair. The longer lengths can create an elongated effect. The shorter lengths can create volume depending on texture and density. Layering controls movement and texture of hair. The layers can be extreme or very close in length. The layers can appear distinctly or as a seamless blend. Layers can be of the same length as in the uniform layer or different lengths such as an A-line layer. Sections can be taken vertically, horizontally or pivotally. Round layering is less or more extreme according to the degree of overdirection. The greater the overdirection, the more extreme the rounding. Symmetric graduation is achieved by equal lengths, as in the uniform layer. A round shape follows the head shape. Square layering is anti-head shape and follows imagined square lines. It will narrow the face shape and produce an effect of elongation. It creates a flatter shape and corners against the round of the head. Triangular layering follows triangular guidelines and can be less or more extreme according to the angle. The more obtuse, the more extreme, the more acute, the less extreme. Triangular layering produces length in the front of the shape.
When layering very fine hair, combine it with graduation to achieve volume. With very curly hair, layering can help to flatten a shape and remove internal weight. If the hairline is fine, then establish a one length first, then layer. Asian hair is dense and layering can be used to reduce bulk and flatten the shape. Use a club cutting technique to cut the layers, then soften with a point cutting technique. Remembering your fundamental cutting principles when creating commercial salon looks for your client will ensure you create an aesthetic to your work. Personalising the result with the best professional advice will gain you a loyal client following. In this lecture, you've learnt some terminology, words, about cutting hair, the three main cutting techniques, and how they apply to different shapes and hair classifications.